Hello everyone, Jolene here from Bookworm Adventure Girl. Welcome back. I hope that you are all well, and if you are new, thanks so much for checking out my channel. Please hit subscribe and stick around. Today I am going to be talking about picture books, which is something that I don't normally talk about. I've only done that a couple of times. When I was, reading all of Margaret Atwood's books, I did include all of her children's books as well. And then I have shared a book that I am going to talk about again today. So today I have 6 books for Picture This 2022, which is a readathon hosted by Jack at Spread Book Joy and Shelly at Shelly Swearingen's Library. Both fantastic people, both fantastic channels, so I will put the links below. They each came up with 3 prompts, and I am choosing to highlight Canadian stories and authors, so I have chosen all Canadian books. And 4 of these were books that I had read before. The other 2 were books by authors that I love, that have also written children's books, and I wanted to check them out. So I did my best to make them fit the prompts. I do admit that some of the prompts might be a bit of a stretch, but I tried my best to make it work. So I am going to start with Shelly's prompts. For Shelly's prompts, I have 2 authors, and I would say that all 3 of these books are considered, Canadian classics in children's books. So Shelly's first prompt is friendship. And for this, I picked David's Father by the very well-loved author Robert Munsch, and it's illustrated by Michael Marchenko. Now, my book is tiny, as you can see. You can get these in the full-size picture book editions, and they are fantastic, but I picked these up a very long time ago, many years ago, for like 50 cents each, and I thought they were so cute. So this story is about the friendship between Julie and David, and David and his family have moved to Julie's neighborhood, and they become friends. Julie thinks, David looks fairly normal, normal enough that they can become friends, and then she meets his father, and his father is not what she is expecting at all. So Shelly's next prompt is green, and so for this I chose another Robert Munsch classic book, and that is The Paperbag Princess. It's also illustrated by Michael Marchenko. This is one of my favorite Munsch stories, and I chose it for this prompt because the dragon in it is green. And Robert Munsch, I would say, is one of the first authors, at least that I remember, who made the princess the hero. In this, the princess outsmarts a dragon to rescue the prince, and she is successful. But what she's most successful at is not selling herself short and not settling for just anyone. And she remains true to herself, and it's a great read. Shelly's final prompt is home, and I have a full-size version of this book. This is truly a Canadian classic, and that is The Hockey Sweater by Roch. It is illustrated by Sheldon Cohen, and I chose this for home because it begins by saying that in winter they lived in 3 places: the school, the church, and the skating rink. So those were kind of the 3 homes. And basically it's about a boy who loves hockey. He and all of his friends are big fans of the Montreal Canadiens, and they all wear Maurice Richard's number 9 on their sweaters. And when the main character outgrows his sweater, his mother very kindly orders him a new sweater from Eaton's, of all places, because that used to be a very huge department store here in Canada. But when the new sweater arrives, it is not a Montreal Canadiens sweater, but a Toronto Maple Leafs sweater. And the little boy is very upset. He's very crushed by this. So this story is just very well known here in Canada, and it has also been animated into like a little film. I will link to that below so you can see that if you want. It's about maybe 10 minutes long. I had not read this in decades, and after rereading it in preparation to do this video, I have to say that I don't remember it ending so abruptly as a kid. Reading it as an adult, it's entertaining to me, but yeah, it was very different than what I remembered. So that leaves us with Jack's prompts, and Jack's first prompt is quiet. And for this one, I am choosing We Dream Medicine Dreams by Lisa Boivin, who also illustrated the book. Lisa is Dene and uses traditional teachings in her stories. This is a story about death and grief and how a little girl learns the traditional teachings of her ancestors and how we are all connected. And I fit it into this prompt because, when death happens in our families, there is often a quiet or a void. And when we dream when our bodies are at rest, when they are quiet. So this is a great little book. Jack's next prompt was red. And for this, I chose The Stone Thrower by Jael Richardson. This is illustrated by Matt James. And I chose this for this prompt because the color red is a prominent color in several of the illustrations. You can see his scarf is red. And I'll show you a couple more as well. A few of these illustrations. It's this one. So I have talked about Jael Richardson many times before on my channel. She is the author of Gutter Child, and she's also the artistic director of Fold, which stands for Festival of Literary Diversity. And actually the Fold, that festival is coming up at the beginning of May, next week if I'm not mistaken. So I will leave links to that if you are interested in checking that out. Anyway, back to this book. So this tells the story of Jael's father, Chuck Ely, who is a former Canadian Football League quarterback. And Chuck grew up in Ohio and had a lot of talent as a quarterback. And he played football in high school and in college with no losses. But when it came time for the NFL, they wouldn't accept him, at least not as a quarterback, because of the color of his skin. So he came to Canada, and he became the first black quarterback to win the Grey Cup. And that was in 1972, and he led the Hamilton Wildcats to the title. So this is a great way of, taking a real life story and making it accessible for young readers. And Jael Richardson actually has another kids book coming out called Because You Are. It's about self-esteem, inner beauty, and making a difference in the world. And it will be published on July 19th. So you can definitely check that out too if you are interested. The last prompt was space, and the book I chose for this is also inspired by a true story, The Darkest Dark by Chris Hadfield, who, if you've been watching my channel for at least a minute, you will know that I absolutely adore and love Chris Hadfield. This is illustrated by Terry and Eric Fan. Chris Hadfield is a Canadian astronaut, and this book, oh, I forgot to tell you, this comes in a hardback as well, but I went with this edition because I'm a kid at heart, and the cover glows in the dark. What? So cool. So this story is about young Chris Hadfield, who dreams about going to the moon after watching the moon landing in 1969. And it's also about how this little boy overcomes the dark. So those are 6 Canadian children's picture books that I really enjoyed, that I wanted to share with you. And I also want to thank Jack and Shelly for hosting this readathon and just helping me remember the joy of reading, especially as a kid. Please let me know if you have read any of these books or if you have any favorite Canadian picture books. I would love to hear about them. I look forward to chatting with you in the comments. Thanks again for watching. I hope you enjoy the rest of your day, and don't forget to make every day an adventure.